Well, this is going to be an interesting stream. Lots of people on the chat already. I don't really have a rig ready. It's just whatever I had on my bench. And for those of you who were basically in the last stream, the reason for that is my streaming rig just died basically. I'll have to update rig. I mean, it's kind of, I think it's pretty much accurate except for the CPU that's in there. But yeah, that is the board. Should be the right RAM in there as well. So last stream, my benching rig gave up the ghost, which is not ideal for sure. I can probably even show it. A face cam, yeah. Did I used to have face cams, didn't I? I don't know. It's been a while. And my internet is not really cooperating. Let's see if I can do something about that. So many people on the stream and pretty much no content. Maybe I did, yeah. So first things first, this is what my streaming rig currently looks like. So yeah, that immediately that presents all kinds of issues. So basically what happened on the Wednesday stream, and the reason that I'm streaming again, I usually just stream once a week, is that I was having these weird thermal shutdowns. Well, I thought were the thermal shutdowns. So the streaming rig is a 12 core Threadripper M-ATX with a Noctua 140 mil tower air cooler on there. And you know, that should all work. I had Gelid paste under there, and it just, what I suspect was some sort of OCP or thermal shutdown. I even on the stream, like just the stream, like basically the streaming rig would just completely shut down, just power off basically in the middle of the stream, and that to me is either OCP or thermal shutdown. So midstream, there's lots of people on the stream, and I was like trying to get to work. Midstream, I switched PSUs, but it didn't make any difference. So it must have been thermal. But the issue is, do I have a retention bracket here somewhere? The issue is I don't actually have, as I drop a Threadripper CPU, I don't actually have a fully working Threadripper retention bracket. This one, so basically there's 6 little stubs on the back here that keep the CPU in place in the socket. On this one, the frame is broken here, so when I try to put the chip in, it will just snap open. The retention bracket I was trying had this little thing missing on the top, and also one of these stubs. So basically, I don't have a working retention bracket. I'm not really confident my chips are. I have multiple chips, but I'm not really sure my chips are okay because this is my only working board. So I don't know if it's an issue. I don't think it's the power supply. It may be an issue with the mount because my retention brackets are fucked. So I need to. You can't buy these on the secondary market. Basically, you have to put in a warranty request with AMD, which I will now do. So that's the first thing to eliminate. Is I obviously have an air cooler that does fit and should have enough thermal capacity. So that's that. But I do need the right retention bracket that actually will keep the chip in exactly the right spot, because I've run cold on this board before, and there's like 4,000 pins in there, and if one of them is not connected, then maybe that can be my issue. So that's the first thing I need to eliminate, is I need a new retention bracket. I may also have a broken chip, but I have multiple chips, so I can work around that. I can test through different chips. RAM, obviously, there could be an issue with the RAM. Doubtful, but I don't mind running dual channel. I don't mind running B die in there, even though right now I just have really cheap C die in there. The other thing it could be, of course, is the board. So it could be the board, but there is no other M80AX Threadripper board, so I would have to RMA the board. So I'm hoping to first RMA for a retention bracket, try again, and then RMA the board. I tried a different PSU keep. So those are sort of the, oops, as I drop Threadripper chip again. Those are sort of the issues with my streaming rig. It's a very particular setup. I don't have an ATX case. I'm basically really bad at doing daily OC. So I'm just like fucking around here trying to get this bloody thing working, and I much prefer benching to it. So I don't have an ATX case. I don't have another Threadripper board. So you might ask, I can stream from my laptop. It's never going to be powerful enough to stream from my laptop. You may ask, what am I using to stream? Well, the answer is this. So here's my foot in frame. I basically where the streaming rig used to be, I put a Crosshair 6 Hero with a Hyper 212 Evo, and just everything's just on a motherboard box. So that's what I'm using to stream right now, because I needed about eight cores, and I was like, fuck it, I don't want to miss out on streaming. I've had a bad week, I may add, but you know, I just want to stream. So wherever the case was, I don't have an ATX case. I have a very limited selection of ambient cooling options. I could have tried to zip tie on the Threadripper air cooler, but I was like, screw it. Ryzen is pretty energy, like heat efficient. I'll just reduce my encoding options a little bit. And you know, here we go. I mean, this is hardware info on the streaming rig. And the CPUs are encoding this stream right now, and it's like 40 degrees, so it's working. The only slight issue is I really have to be careful that I don't kick the kick the streaming rig, because yeah, I'm very close with my feet. Okay, do I have issue? I'll try and hold on. I don't want a screensaver, damn it. Okay. So question number one, do I have issues with encoding on Zen? Not really, but it's OBS does X264 encoding, so it's a pretty like mature encoding standard, I guess. Anyway, so yeah, that's I pretty much just spent the last 2 hours putting together an ad hoc streaming rig, and now it's 12 noon and I haven't had lunch. So all right, so that was Wednesday's stream. I better update my rig details, to be fair, but yeah, I mean, if it works, you know. Anyway, yes, so update the Nightbot. How's everyone else keeping? Sorry to hear about your health issues, Keep. Oh, what's... recommend this stream. Hey, I'm gonna try to pronounce your name. Ifruz. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, basically, streamers. I think that's the... Here's a link to more streamers basically that do overclocking streaming. $3,600 golds, nice. That's cool. It's always good to see people benching AMD. I'm sure I've said this before, I'm not the biggest fan of like 3rd gen Ryzen as a cold streaming platform. Oh, by the way, we should have the Discord for the newbie on chat. Okay, that's slightly badly formatted, but I think the second link should work to get into Keeps. I pronounced it well enough. Okay, to get into Keeps Discord. Okay, so Socket 939. Wednesday was already a 939 stream. On Wednesday I did GPU Pi because that's going to be a stage in this year's Team Cup. Today, in the system I have, what do I have in there? I was binning some San Diego chips. So yesterday, missing space. Okay, to me the links come up correctly. I know that the text is kind of formatted a little bit badly. But should there really be a space in the link? The link seems fine to me. I don't know, maybe you can paste the actual link in chat, I don't know. Okay. So the first link is broken. Okay, I thought you were talking about the second link, but yeah, that makes sense. So, yeah, that should be easily fixed. Discord. Yeah, okay, that space is in there now. So I was doing some 3700 plus. I was going to say 3700X. Those are two very different things. A 3700X is a current gen CPU. A 3700 plus, and that's an 8-core. A 3700 plus is a single core CPU from 2005. So yeah, there's a little bit of a difference there. Alright, so maybe just to share that quickly. So what I did yesterday on this board, and the reason the board is on my test bench to begin with, really. Socket A. No, this is 939. It should say it on the. Oh, there's actually, that's interesting. There's no now that I look at it, there's CPU Z doesn't identify the socket at all. It's 939, so it's DDR. Yeah. Ella, what? So are you doing? Are you streaming these days or benching? I don't know. Probably haven't caught up in 2 years or something. So okay, so I have 5 of these chips that I bought together. Here are the batch numbers, and somewhat unsurprisingly, the newest batch ended up having the best overclocking result. Yeah, well, let's call this a yellow then. So the worst one was this, so I'll make that red. But what I was starting to see, so on this board, let's maybe just reboot and go into BIOS. On this board, I don't know for what reason, but DFI decided to implement a vid offset. So they decided to implement a setting for just setting the vid, setting the V core, and then an additional offset on top of that. So just to show you, this is the vid. So the absolute max is 1.55, but then you can apply an offset of up to like an additional vid of up to 36%. So I don't want to apply 36%. That would be way above 2 volts. But you kind of have to do your own maths here, because you can't really do this. Well, I can't do this reliably in my head. 1.55 multiplied by 1.13. What's that? That's I don't know what it is. But just as an example, right now I'm at 1.7 V core, so that's 110% of 1.55. Engine stuff, motorized bicycle. Eyeing a 550A Pro Yeah, B550 is a good chipset. It's basically the chipset for everyone bar people who need PCIe, like very specialized things, PCIe Gen 4 SSDs and stuff like that. So I don't know if I should bench this particular chip, to be honest. But I can get my tray out, which is I don't have enough trays for all of my chips, but I do have enough trays for 939. So I have an Opteron in there. I've got some 3000 pluses in there. But I lie because this is also 939. So I almost have enough trays for 939. So what I would like to put in here is a Venice of some description. So let's see what I've got. I've got 3200 pluses. Yeah, I've got a lot of 3200 pluses. Maybe that's a good one to bin then. Let's check the points. This is the key to success, I think, is so 45 hybrid points for 3200 pluses. Okay, I'll go with one of those. Stock AMD. I basically have notes for everything because I forget things, and the only reasonable way I think you can progress in overclocking is by taking notes. So my newest 3200 plus would be a 618. So let's see if I can find that. Should be number 5. 618 CAD. Okay. And I think they're all the same stepping. Steppings matter. BW, yeah, okay. So that is insane organization. You don't want to know. Like, I categorize it by socket, and then I have like little tweaks for 2D and 3D benchmarks. Yeah, like every socket has a folder. Every chip that I own has a folder. Yeah, it's a bit. I'm not really obsessive compulsive in that way, but for overclocking, I don't really see any other way. As it stands, I already forget too many things. If I also didn't take notes, then it would just be insane. Where's my screwdriver? I mean, this is an Ultra D. I'm pretty sure everyone has seen one before. It's got the iconic DFI LAN party horizontal DIMM slots that the EVGA Dark copied. Here's the vCore VRM, and you can see it's kind of underpowered in a way. So I like to have a bit of direct heat flow on there, and then you've got your different color DIMM slots. Yellow is better for WinBond. and then I don't have any WinBond. I only have TCCD, so I run Orange. Um, Funnily enough, it has a Molex connector for Crossfire setups. I don't know how. I have some boards that are bare chipset, but this thankfully has a working fan that um, isn't noisy. Some of them, have busted ball bearings and things. You've got PATA, which I'm gonna have to explore for BCLK, like 400 plus. I could only do 375 on the SATA. But the good thing about this platform, I mentioned this on Wednesday, but there's a lot of new people on the stream today. What I like about this platform is it's new enough that it has all the niceties. It has onboard buttons. It even has diagnostic LEDs, but I use the postcode reader. It has boot from USB, which was a very, very new thing at the time. It has PS2, of course, but it has USB ports that are still properly recognized in Windows 7. I think I mentioned PCIe already, because AGP benching becomes, even for just display out, becomes a bit difficult also for streaming purposes. What else does it have? It has like a clear CMOS, which is probably not something too exciting, but it's a DDR platform, because SDR again becomes a bit iffy. It has BIOS profiles, but according to Mr. Scott, who is kind of a DFI expert, he used to, I think, mod the DFI forums, that will actually gives you a chance of bricking your BIOS chip. So that's not ideal, but it basically does all the things. The only thing, now that it's a 15-year-old board, I have two dead ones. Apparently the caps and VRMs like to die, basically. And what I'm trying to find is the jumper which gives you more. If anybody knows, just let me know. Apparently up here there's a jumper somewhere that gives you more memory voltage. Yeah. They're just labeled like jumper 1, jumper 2, so I could try and error them. Sounds like my mom. Okay. All right, let's get a Venice chip in here. So, it would help if I had an actual Phillips head somewhere. Trying to be. By the way, I'm representing Kingpin today. KPX. I need to put in an order because he has that sort of value proposition now, the 30 gram. It used to be he would only do 30 gram tubs, but now he has, I think, even a cheaper 30 gram syringe, and I really want to get in on that. What's the stuff between the two 16x slots? It is, believe it or not, it's actually an array of jumpers. Let me take the block off first. I don't want it to hit any components. I already have two of these dead boards. Yeah, syringe. Yeah, Ella, like PM me on the Discord or whatever. I really am struggling to find WinBond. So I have a shit ton of. Oops. This is all. Pretty much all of this is TCCD, including 600 bin ADATA. But there's only so far you can go with TCCD. So yeah, definitely, if you want to get rid of your WinBond, we can work something out. Okay, yeah. I mean, you can just look up pictures online or whatever, but these are actually a set of jumpers, and I think they're Crossfire / SLI related. But to be honest, I'm the wrong person to ask. Hey, Dave Green, you seem to be new on the chat as well. Welcome, welcome. hope you're enjoying this stream. Yeah, if you're still on the Overclock, the old r/overclocking Discord, then you should be able to find me on there. I mean, I obviously won't respond right now, but I always get back to PMs. I think I've checked this chip for functionality already, so I'm safe mounting the block. Fun so far. Well, here's your chance to rejoin it. I suppose you could whisper on Twitch directly as well, but link number 1 should be easy to join. So, yeah. So what I was saying was, this is an interesting platform because it went from, in the beginning there was 130 nanometer on this platform process, CPU process, single core, all single core, but unlocked chips as well. So those clocked quite well, and they had large caches. And then later on, there was, which I think every chip I have is the later 90 nanometer process. And then they also started, they must have had some sort of yield issues because they started making a lot of the chips 512 kilobytes of RAM of level 3 instead of 1 meg, which is interesting. I'm just pasting up the chip here while trying to talk. And correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I remember, like, so, and the thing also was dual cores. This is the first AMD platform with AMD, like, mainstream desktop platform with dual cores. So actually they didn't release very many dual cores. I have an entire tray of chips here, and most of them are single cores. So Venice, which is the architecture I've just put in my socket here, as far as I know, is like the latest released chip on this socket, but it's all single cores. But because it's a mature process, they clock reasonably well, and also apparently have the best IMCs. If you look at, I should probably mention, 939 world record holder for DDR max frequency. Look, I'm not made of money, all right? I can't use KPX for everyday benching purposes like this. But you do raise a good point. So when I was doing my binning, I was seeing scaling up to about 1.7 or 1.725 vCore for valids. But even for valids, my suspicion is that I was thermally limited. So a better paced a chiller that's set to a lower temperature should yield really, really good results. Yeah, so 939, for those who don't know, is the platform for DDR max frequency. I don't actually know why. Like, I suppose, like, if I were to guess, I would say that AMD just released closer to the end of the DDR cycle than Intel did. Like, Intel, there's not really a good DDR platform. There's 478, but that's, I think, older than 939. There's 775 DDR, but that's just, those were all cheapo boards, so you just don't want to mess with those. Whereas I don't think this particular board has the world record, but it's either the Expert or the Venus. So on this socket for LAN parties, there was the Expert, the Venus, those were the two high-end ones, and then there was the SLI, SLI-DR, and Ultra D. And basically SLI, SLI-DR, and Ultra D are very similar, if not identical, PCB-wise, but the Expert has the slots over here, and I think the Venus as well. And they had many more tuning options in BIOS. I should probably try and catch up with the chat. So a big guy run of shirts. So is it limited? Like, is it just? I have the opposite problem. I had an issue with one of my pot orders. Like, it came with the wrong top, and I contacted him, and as like kind of token of goodwill or whatever, he sent me the right top without charging me, and also sent me t-shirt. But he asked me for my size, and I was like, oh, probably a small or medium, and he's like, oh, I only have larges left, so this is a little bit baggy on me. All right, let's do this. Yep, wrong. Streaming rig still going strong. That fan is a bit too noisy. Let's see if I can set the fan to full, because the header down here I know is full speed, but the top ones, for whatever reason, yeah. So fan to fully on. $26 degrees. Okay, that did the trick. All right, let me quickly update my Nightbot. So fucking fan. It's harder than I thought. Okay, I'm gonna have to use the dedicated RAM fan, even though I don't like it. Okay, noisy as fuck, but alright, so our CPU is RAM is not, RAM is going to be various TCCD. CPU is Venice 3200 plus. Benches memory max valid. Okay, there we go. All right, 39 minutes into the stream, we're finally going to bench. It's about par for the course. Yeah, the Ugandan sticker is nice. So, what are we going to do? We are, first of all, no reason for such a high vid. Let's look at my previous subs. So I actually had no results. I don't like a bench. I like to be kind of versatile. I don't like a bench where I have 0 results. So up until a couple of days ago, for memory, I didn't have a DDR result at all. But now I put up a very, very pathetic 310. So yeah, the Australian record is 420. That's 200 effective away from where I am. So that's not great. That's not great at all. Let's look at Katori's sub. This is a legendary score that may never be beaten. The amount of effort, if anyone knows Christian Ney, yeah. So Ella, that weird plus naming was introduced by AMD, basically because this was the net bust era of Intel. So Intel was clocking like crazy, but had horrible IPC. AMD, on the other hand, was like putting out chips with 2 gigahertz stock clock, but beating Intel in a lot of things. So their remarketing kind of campaign, a little bit like the i3, i5, i7 ended up being, was to say that chips would do a certain, like, be the equivalent of a certain speed. So the intention behind 3200 plus is this is as good as an Intel 3.2 gigahertz, but I don't even know what the stock speed is, but let's find out. What's the max multi? So 10 by 200. So the stock, it is actually 2 gigahertz. Let's snack a bit more. So this is probably what you're talking about, is a Barton, but what I'm overclocking is a Venice. There we go. So this naming scheme existed on Sakure, 939 and 754, which is 754 is just the low end single channel version of 939, and then AM2, and by AM2 plus it was gone. Well, this is just the 754 version of it, but so like 2, yeah. Pentium 4 heat spreader. Oh, that's right. So socket A was bare die. 939 has an IHS. Well, I wanted to show Katori. So for those who know Christian Ney, he's retired now, but he at one point held every single memory frequency bench world record. So by that I mean SD RAM or DRAM, FPM RAM. These are RAM types that even I don't really particularly know what they are. FP DIMM RAM, EDO RAM, and then the usual DDR, DDR2, 3, and 4. Like 2, 3, and 4 on their own would already be quite hard to do, but having the whole suite is insane. And if you look into a sub, the amount of effort that went into it was pretty insane. So he talks about World record at time of posting. Spent 24 hours in a row on 435.3, and this is a 441.6. Took 8 more hours, so 32 hours straight to get this score on LN2. Interestingly, on a Manchester strip. I always thought that Venice was the best IMC in general, but there's always exceptions, of course. And trying to hold the RAM at 9 degrees on LN2. Now, good luck with that. So what was it you benched? Was it like SuperPi 1M or PiFast or something for a Team Cup one year? That's a nice pot. All of that goop. Gwyneth Paltrow would be proud. So this is an expert. So you can see it's kind of very, very similar, really, but with the CPU offset much more to the side. But now let's look at Kito. So this was 2012, 2 years without anyone breaking it, and now you don't remember. October 2014, we have an air world record on DDR. And this is also either an expert or a Venus. Yeah, it's a Venus. So those were the two top end boards. I mean, LAN parties were already pretty high end boards. So after all that preamble, let's copy this person's timings. Okay, so we had 366, 15, 22, 256. So that will be step number one. Step number one will actually be just to put this all stock. What's a reasonable? We can probably go down to 6x without it slowing down too much. So the 310 sub that I have, I did same board, same stick, different IMC, and on Windows 7. XP should be able to push a little bit higher. Not guaranteed, but TCL 3. Yeah, 6 for the middle timings. TRP would be 22. Oh. So there you go. That's already the first difference. I can't, on this bias at least, I can't TRC, TRP, RAS, sorry, RAS, of course. Where's RAS? This needs to be 22. And then let's lock in we probably want this lower, but let's just leave it on auto, in fact. This probably is safe to go to 6 as well. 2 cycles is the max here. Idle 256 is the max. Only CPU. I find socket A pretty easy to find, but stuff like dual core on this platform is quite tough. Let's just post that, or attempt to post it. So 56 C3 26 is a normal post cycle. And now, so we're limited to 3.2 here. Let's start off at 3. All right. $2 to your name. That's not. Hopefully, you're in a better position now. I wouldn't be benching. Like, this is all, you know, discretionary expenditure. Like, there's some people on the Discord and stuff who are like, "Oh, I don't even have a bed. I just have a mattress on the floor," but they're still binning chips and stuff, and I don't know how I feel about that. Maybe I should just do a little walkthrough through this BIOS. So this is obviously just your devices. Boot priority is pretty simple. You can turn off cache, but that's gonna really screw performance. What I should be disabling is, I think, spread spectrums off is a good idea. I haven't seen this thermal throttling idea before. It's interesting that the P states basically I just determine in OS, like I just fixed in BIOS like that. I think I can just disable ID. What's the point? Nice quick reposts on this anyway. So large city, yeah. I think that's smart. Being in a large city, everything gets easier there. But I mean, the current situation isn't great. I stream Wednesdays now because my employer isn't doing so well, and I've been asked to reduce my hours by 1 day. So I think pretty much everyone is affected. Of course, very very different ways, you know. Gotta disable the audio. Floppy disk, screw that. The hilarious thing is how this allows RAID. It even allows IDE RAID. Now that would be interesting to try and get that running. Floppy disk off. Infrared off. That used to be a thing. Before Bluetooth, basically, we had infrared. I'm sort of chicken clocking this because I don't have profiles. I mean, the board does have profiles. I'll show you now, but apparently, like I mentioned before, they corrupt your BIOS. So you've got 3 banks here, but they can literally corrupt your BIOS chip. So that's not a good place to be. Okay, health looking fine. 12 degrees on the chip is pretty nice. Not sure how that affects IMC. Let's go back to Kotori actually. So this is obviously an insane bin of TCCD, and yeah, that's what it looks like. TCCD. There's also TCCC, which is not as good. CL 2.5 600s, I think. Yeah, 600 is pretty much the highest mainstream bin that existed. Yeah, so I think AM2 and AM2 Plus LAN parties are not affected by that. But if it affects 939, then it's completely reasonable to think that it would also affect you know, an earlier platform. What's with all these wires though? Where is that? Some sort of hard mod or something? So that's just regular water. Did Nay? I think these IMCs degrade. I don't think Nay even ran. Yeah, he ran air. That's what I was seeing on AM2 Plus was the IMC would just get worse. The DDR2 IMC would just get worse. Like at minus 100, it was just terrible. All right. But just the other thing I wanted to mention was Medium 3.8. The most interesting setting is drive stress, so I might have to try that. Anyway, let's do some actual benching for a change. So Genie is where all the overclocking lives. We have our timings, our basic timings dialed in. Now let's go to the 1:1 strap and see that then means DDR 400, which is, you know, where things start to get interesting. I might want to reduce the vid a bit as well, because you don't want the IMC getting too hot either. I mean, I don't know if this really affects it, but may as well try. So these straps, so again, you have to do a little bit of math in your head, because it will tell you the first number is at stock FSB or BCLK, what data rate will the RAM be. As I have slight internet issues. So right now we're at 250. Well, we're at 200. Let's just see if we can boot. And the funny thing is too, this is these straps seem to be DRAM dependent. Like, I had on another kit, on another stick, I think it was a higher strap than this, so it was like a 7:5 strap or something like that up here, and it really threw me off. I thought it was some sort of bug. Well, the higher strap posts, but what the issues I was mostly facing actually was not so much issues with posting, but issues with booting. And that's where I'm hoping the 32-bit OS would give me a bit more headroom, because it's lighter on memory. I might even want to optimize maxmem to some degree. No, that's looking slow. Yeah, I should probably go up. Well, I can just... That's weird. That's a reporting bug. So we're at 200 flat FSB. 200 by 1.2 is what? Oh yeah, 240. It should be 240. Okay. All right. Got sent to ground. Might be time to follow up on that years later. Come on, BIOS. Let's try 220. We don't have anyone with 939 expertise in the chat, do we? Well, I don't want to jinx it, but I'm glad my streaming rig is holding up. Bit of disk activity going on there. That's an interesting chain of events there you're describing. All right, I'm just going to chicken clock 10 megahertz at a time. Let's see how we go. Last time I was able to post 300 and BCLK in OS to 310 or so. There's a real case to be made for chiller on the RAM actually, because you just want to find the end of the DRAM voltage scaling for that particular chip, for that particular stick, and you want to basically be able to remove, you know, a near infinite amount of heat. You don't mind if the stick gets hot, or rather, you don't mind if there's lots of heat being produced, but you don't want it to stay in the stick because then it will clock worse on a higher voltage, and then you misunderstand that as being the voltage limit of the stick, but it's actually the stick clocking differently at different temperatures. So that's why I want as much cooling as possible on there. To be honest, I probably don't have enough on there at the moment, but it's as much as I had with my last attempt. My chillers are stock, but they do a decent job. Like I would set maybe 12 degrees to be above the dew point, and that then fluctuates between 11 and 13, 13 and a half. So I think that's acceptable. Getting close. Who coined the term chicken clocking again? Was it Joe Stepanzi? And then Gamers Nexus picked up on it. The nice thing about all this is because it will always post higher than it boots, I don't feel the need as much to clear CMOS using the jumper. It's like I have a setting that isn't working out for me, but I can still go into BIOS and just adjust again. So the lack of profiles isn't hurting me as much as it could. Kilowatt, nice. But that was, if I remember right, that was sort of like a home built. So here's our big 600. So there's a, this is pretty cool. You have the voltage control. I don't know in how far that actually works because of the weird special vid thing, but the multiplier control does work. That's pretty cool for an old platform like this. And then of course, well, this is a ClockGen NF4. So I got it from Tech Power Up. You should be able to find it, but the regular ClockGen or ZFSB doesn't work on NVIDIA chipsets as far as I can see. $305, $308, $310. Okay, we already have a new personal best, so that's nice. If it validates. So that's a 312. I think I was on all auto timings last time. Ooh, okay. Oh, we have Fat Boy Not So Slim on the chat as well. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, let's just see what the highest is that will post right or boot right now. Posting and booting being very separate things. Oftentimes on many platforms, especially with Windows XP, the two aren't really that far apart. But for this particular quote-unquote bench, it's a little bit different. Oh, we have Rushed OC as well. 60 fine. That's a good. I don't know if that's a bot or not. There's lots of bots on Twitch, but 60 fine is a pretty good. If you're not a bot, kudos. All right. Whoop. All right, that's starting to get towards the limit. I'm gonna have to look up which jumper is the. Sorry. No accusations being made. I'm just saying that there's in general there's a good chance of random new viewers who don't chat being bots, because Twitch is pretty bad for bots right now. But welcome to the stream, and apologies if any offense was caused. It really wasn't intentional. Because if I look into my streamer, like my chat list here, I don't think they even get counted as viewers or whatever, but there's like lurks with 2 X's. There's another viewer with 2 V's, and I think those are both bots. And there's Commander Root and Electrical Longboard, who, to the best of my knowledge, have been in all of my streams and never chatted, so I just take that as being a bot. Time for a Jats. The Aussies around here probably know what a Jats is. I'm a bot. Yes, I am actually. A new AI, straight from Japan. So I just upped the VDIM a little bit. Let's see what we can do here. $315. Okay, that's worth validating. And onwards we go. I don't know how much further, but 317. Can we do 320? Almost. All right. So we're still seeing scaling. That's a good thing. Oh, you mean the yeah, the sort of AI tester, like please click whichever tiles have a car on them or whatever, or a street sign. Yeah, that's bullshit. I have no idea why I let that boot. I need to make a change before booting makes sense. Exactly, the text ones are evil. Whoever invented that should be fired. It's just the kind of plain cracker you would put a piece of cheese on. Yeah, it's literally just, this is a Jats. This is an original Jats. You feel somewhat let down. So there's two ways I can go about this, right? I'm now at 3.2 volts. I don't know enough about DDR timings to really, I mean, I would imagine that they're loose enough that it doesn't really make a huge difference. But I can either now swap in another, see what happens here, and then swap in another stick, or enable the ultra voltage mode and go to like 3.6. What do you want to see? What's more interesting? By the way, there's also in OS timing changes. I'm not going to do it now, but everything except CL I think can be changed in OS, which is pretty neat. $320. Shame it's not $420. So I think it's pretty obvious we're still seeing scaling there. For validation purposes, I've heard of up to 3.6 or so, 3.7. I think I want to flip the switch. I'm interested now. Let's see if I can find the manual. This is probably going to give me a virus. But let's see. Okay. I was hoping for just an image or something. Okay, I'm just going to take a punt at it and flip the red jumper. It's probably the wrong one, but don't know what else to do. That was a scary long 0-0. Five volts to CPU. Even LAN parties don't have that. Asus has a patent on those. Harsh. Really, really harsh, guys. No. Okay. Next one. I'm just going to try all the ones in the memory area. To the right. Okay. Look at the size of this goddamn jumper. So yeah, Ella, TCCD isn't really this voltage hungry, but just for validations. So what I've heard for benching purposes, like dual channel, actual tight timings, you want to go like 2.5 is stock. You want to basically only go. Here we go. Yes, it is unlocked. You want to go between in that range, like 2.5. The higher bins probably want at least 2.6, 2.7, and then your range is like 2.6 to, let's say, 2.9. And then for validations, just from what I've heard from people, you go 3.2 plus. Like you just go whatever you can cool, whatever the stick still scale to. Four volts. Yeah. Not sure I'm gonna do that. I'm actually just gonna try and boot a little bit higher as well. Well, I'm glad 60 Fine has turned very, very quickly from a suspected bot to a valuable member of the chat, helping me find the right jumper. Thank you. So this is now booting for bus clock higher. So it's basically booting the thing that I previously was struggling to validate. My first validation. $322. I grab that. 325. Nice. $330. It's like this RAM has unlocked another gear or something. That last 0.1 volts really gave it a lot, didn't it? Maybe it's also training lower, who knows? That sometimes happens. Whoop. Like sometimes I don't know how it works with DDR, but on some platforms, when your memory training voltage is higher, the system kind of recognizes what you're trying to do, and the sort of like voltages that the timings that may not even be exposed in the BIOS train looser, is what I'm trying to say. Exactly. XP is the best operating system of all time. Okay. Three, 335. Good joke. I like it. Okay, no 340, but that may be related to the BCLK as well. So I'm now going to boot 5 BCLK higher, because you only get that 20 to 30 BCLK range before funky that you can adjust inside of XP, lower for Windows 7, before things go funky. So I'm going to go up 5 and see. Keep scaling. JJJ, have you ever done DDR? Like when you so you've retired once and now you've come back. In your first stint at Overclocking, did you ever do old stuff like this, or did you just clock current gen platforms? It almost looked like it wasn't gonna post. Yeah, I think that's the case for a lot of people. Like overclocking became, I mean, I wasn't around at the time to really know, but I think 775 sort of was very accessible. I mean, I compared to modern day platforms, it's still not as accessible. But compared to older stuff, you know, when you have to screw around with PATA and AGP and flashing biases in DOS and stuff, and maybe even binning PSUs and things for the really old platforms, it just becomes very obscure. Whereas 775 is kind of, yeah, you've got the issue with locked multiplier, but otherwise it's a pretty sort of modern feeling platform in a way. Just need to keep an eye on my core as well, so that doesn't run away in some way. I'm not going to catch Aussie today, but we could get a pretty decent showing in terms of not country record, but sort of like second place, maybe. I don't know. I'll have to have a look at the rankings. Let me grab a 338. Oh. Okay, so that didn't help. Tell me more, Ella. That sounds intriguing. I didn't know that 478 had DDR2. I mean, it makes sense to me, but that's, for the moment, that's news to me. I think we're getting to the point where the VRM needs a bit of cooling as well. There we go. Sorry, I won't even. I didn't. There's always a stream delay. So JJ, if you could just tell me. XP? No, you won't. Okay, yeah. So that's kind of expected. That sometimes booting a higher BCLK, especially in a stripped OS, single channel, you know, that can have. It's worth trying, but it's not always likely to help you out. But more volts, of course. Now that is a completely different matter. Okay, we've got 340. Let's hope it validates. That's okay. That may be a corrupted file now, but 340, that's already given. I'm just running a completely random stick here. That's decent. Let's boot another 5 BCLK higher just to see. 4 volts. I don't mind losing this stick. But given, you know, DDR is 15 years old, I don't necessarily want to kill anything. It's not like killing a stick of PSC or something where it's money lost, but you know, they're a dime a dozen in a way. #1 rookie is pretty cool. Now just get a #1 apprentice, Ella. Where's the holdup? Hopefully this is not corrupted. Interesting. So now we do appear to be getting just a tiny bit of scaling out of these. No, not really. Okay, more volts, as Billzoid would say, or Fatboy Not So Slim would say. More volts, more score. Not being able to stay in something is common. I wouldn't worry about that. There's a lot of people who are like that, me included in some sense. I really don't want to kick my streaming rig. Still going strong though. The cooler is just held down by paste, by the way. I've called the stream Ziptie stream, but actually, did I apply more volts? No, I don't think I did. Okay. I call the stream as Ziptie stream, but there's no zip ties involved. Just paste. Actually, I did apply. Maybe this is the start of the end for this stick. Yeah, if it's not booting the same BCLK at a higher voltage. But I mean, that's what I've heard anyway. 3.6, 3.7, depending on the stick, depending on the cooling involved. Then again, XP sometimes randomly decides not to want to post and stuff. It's part of the game. Yeah, that seems to be a pretty hard limit there. Let's maybe just quickly go back to 3.5 and see if we can boot higher. And I do wonder whether the chipset voltage is relevant. Okay, I think 3.5 was the sweet spot. There is a little weird setting that gives you 30 extra millivolts. I might try that. Let's go down 5 BCLK. See what happens there. Hopefully we can recover the OS. All right. I don't know if that's borked for good. Let's just go back down to 200. Like maybe just stock everything and see what happens. Not really stock everything, but let's see. So I thought this was kind of funny. At the end of the last stream, there was a few subs and stuff in the last stream. It left me with, nah, the OS is screwed, I think. That's fine. We need to make sure we save the right validations files from it. I should probably just straight up validate the highest one right now. Leave nothing to chance. Here's our handy little USB to SATA. I'm not going to stick it in the streaming PC. That would probably just knock the cooler off. It's going to my laptop. So it's telling me there's a problem with the drive. I can just ignore that. But yeah, basically Twitch gives a payout at $100, and I'm currently at 99.76. So I'd be really happy about my next sub or cheer. No pressure. So it should be, where is it? Benching, CPU Z. So I got a 342 out, and I'm literally just gonna validate it straight away. Gotta add my name. Okay, so that worked. That's good. I'll put it in chat. No, I'm not, like, this is just all in jest, of course. Like, I never expect anyone. I don't do this. Let's put it that way. I certainly don't bloody well do this for money. So my costs, I enjoy it. I mean, I don't just say this because it sounds good. I really do this because I enjoy streaming. Like, I look forward to streams most of the time. I stream whatever platform I want to stream. Let's start a restore of XP. And if I were ever to make some sort of a balance sheet of some sort between my streaming expenses versus income, well, I've earned $100 over 2 years, and I don't even want to know how much I spent on like cameras and things. So there's no comparison. But that'll be sweet. That would be my first payout. Twitch doesn't pay out under $100, so you just accumulate it. Okay, so I want to restore 939 XP, which should be quick. So that's ongoing. Now let's have a look at our bag of tricks. This is the other stick in the kit, and that's everything else. I'm going to give the other stick a quick go. I'm just interested to see if it behaves similarly. Our restore is already done, actually. Maybe a smart thing to do would be to try and boot the restored image first, just in case there's something else fishy going on. I don't want to spend time swapping around RAM sticks and things. Because the other factor can be that just the stick is degraded or whatever. F1 is fine. Anonymous cheerer, 100 bits. Is that what it is? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Boom. I don't know if that's your actual nick. I don't really know how this works on Twitch, but thank you very much. So we have a clean OS here. Let's just make this shortcut. Would help if I was on here. We just have to make sure that we're in XOC mode and write protect the file. We should be good otherwise. I don't think there's anything else too magical about the OS. Oppa, indeed. Let's see how long it takes for Twitch to give me my money. All right. Time for the other stick. It's 2.5, 512. And I think these are called Ultra X's. I don't know why the number, like what do those numbers signify? I have no idea. $5 on snacks. What platform is that? Hopefully not Mixer. Okay. Let's start at 3 volts. I think 3 volts is a good sort of happy medium type of thing. It's wide to my settings, hasn't it? That's okay. I can go back to Katori's sub. So it was CL3, Razcast was 6, and then T-Raz was 6, and then 15 for Cycle, and 22 for WR, is it? I think I put TRFC on auto. I think I generally just put everything on 6. It just has to be roughly the same. So TRFC was the one that was 22. I don't think I did anything with this, or maybe I just had it on 6. And we want the top strap, and we had 1.45 for the vid. It's probably too high, but chipset on stock, which is 1.5. And I just have to disable some devices. Was it in here? It's like the floppy disk and all that crap. Infrared off, serial off, floppy off, audio off, and then just need to spin up the fans a bit more. Pornhub, nice. So we did 342. Yeah, we probably need a bit more. I go 3.2, and I'll also boot a bit higher. Now I know why you gave up benching. You found another pastime. Okay, that's not actually booting. Maybe I just lockbox the better stick out of the kit. Just having a look at my validation to just double check that I didn't screw one of the timings. So 36666. Actually, I didn't try command rate 2, but where is that hidden? So my last validation was command rate 1. Okay, so 36667 TCS, whatever the hell TCS is. Where's TCS? I mean, seems pretty much the same. Okay. Let's just give it a little bit more voltage. Oh, of course. Core multiplier needs to go down. What a dumb mistake. And hyper threading to 1 as well. And back down to 3.2. Okay, where's our ranking? So obviously first page is completely, I wouldn't say completely out of reach, but it's going to be quite tough. But here's where it gets a little bit interesting. Can I filter by, let's filter by Oceania. 10 total results for Australia. And I've already beaten Matt Flegg, so that's good. Don't know. Pawnography. You gotta give it to these people who have interesting nicknames like that. Okay. Let's clock a bit. So we're at 3.2 now. And yeah, our core and hyperthreading, our hyper transport are at same levels now. Interesting. All right, time for 3.3. Okay, thanks Ella, thanks for dropping by. Hopefully you'll come join us again, even though you don't bench anymore. Still fun to chat. Sleep well, and I'll reply about the win bond. Thanks. So red grapes or green grapes for food, as a food? What's better? Well, sorry, all I've got is red. Green apples. What kind of a sick individual are you? You like green apples to eat? I like them in my, for cooking, but to actually bite into and eat, no way. Red apples all the way. What are you even talking about? I feel like I don't know you. So that's 325. Yeah, no go on the 330. You can cook with them. You can, okay, so all, it's true, like pretty much all uses of apples are nutritional in their purpose. But what I mean to eat is like you actually just bite into the apple and eat it raw. Just you just eat it. You bite into it and swallow it. There's other uses of apple, like you can make apple juice, you can make cider, you can cook with them, you can make like a pie with them, whatever. That's the distinction I'm trying to draw here, but seems like it was confusing. Yeah, it's a good point. I do feel like a lot of these other subs are 2T. So what I'm hoping to beat is is Bilko. What's he doing in his sub? Well, that's 1T. Okay, let's stay at 1T just for comparison's sake and stuff. So don't know any of these people. Pact is kind of an X-bencher kind of person. I've beaten Matthew Flegg. Ooh, I've beaten CP Joust. He's decent. Let's we might still get the old voltage scaling bump we got on the other stick as well. So all hope is not yet lost. However, early indications are this stick isn't as good. Feels pretty warm, but not outrageous. Nah, I got no scaling out of that last 100 millivolts. All right, I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt and give it better cooling, but I really think it's not getting there. This is around where the other stick stopped, so we're sort of running out of options a little bit here. Oops. I like to see what's going on while I'm in my browser. Okay. So that booted. Let's have a quick look. I'm not altogether that hopeful, but the other thing we can do is we can validate the file, check if the timings really are identical, and then just move on to the next stick. If they are identical. If they aren't, then we'll have to see how identical they are, or how unidentical, or how different rather. Jeez, English is a hard language. Ooh. Okay, we got a... I was going to say we got a boatload of scaling out of that, but let's quickly have a look at the validation file. But to be honest, it looks like I'm moving on. Streaming rig still going strong. A lot of disk activity. So, quick side by side. Yeah, so we've got at least the visible timings. Oops. Let's try that again. Somehow the copy paste didn't work. Oh, it's actually looser. So the fifth timing, or the third from the end, TCS is 15. I had it on 7 before. Unlikely to make a difference, but let's just give it a quick run. Could be some sort of misdetection issue anyway, but doesn't hurt to try. Yeah, I mean, I would. All I'm trying here really is 2T is definitely a good idea. Why did it auto the timings again? Now I'm suspicious that it's just keeps on autoing timings. Yeah, I got the bias got wiped for some reason. 265. The top strap. 1.3. Just one, literally just one more attempt on this stick. Okay, this is really weird. The jumper is set, so the jumper didn't magically move around. This is where the no profiles problem hurts me. Okay, let's do a load optimized defaults. What the hell? Next thing after that would be a clear via the CMOS jumper. So that's the red one over here. And moving it back. Pull the battery. Okay, I'm gonna move the jumper back to see what happens. So now we would expect the limit to be in place. Now let's do an orderly shutdown, replace the battery, and switch the jumper. Come on. That's super weird. And all I did was pull the OS. I didn't do a CMOS clear. I mean, I changed DRAM like the stick, but yeah, I might have to let this board rest, to be honest. Yeah, that's just crossed the 2-hour mark. It's gonna be the end of the stream. Streaming rig still going well, down next to my feet, but I think I'm gonna shut it down now. I'm gonna probably have to use that for streaming for a while now, because by the time I orme this piece of garbage, might take some time. But yeah, see ya. Thanks for watching. Next stream either Wednesday or next weekend. I don't know for sure yet. But yeah, until next time.